In the heart of 20th century America, a nation divided by race, inequality, and deeply entrenched prejudice, one man rose to challenge the impossible. He carried no weapons, commanded no armies, and yet his presence resonated across the country, shaking the very foundations of segregation. He was Martin Luther King Jr., a preacher, activist, and visionary who believed that love, nonviolence, and moral courage could reshape a society built on centuries of oppression. His story is not just history, it is a blueprint for how one person, armed with conviction and compassion, can confront injustice and inspire millions. Born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, King was the son of Martin Luther King Sr., a Baptist minister, and Alberta Williams King, a deeply spiritual woman who instilled in her children the principles of faith, morality, and civic responsibility. Growing up in the segregated South, King witnessed firsthand the injustices of Jim Crow laws, the humiliation of systemic racism, and the daily struggles of African Americans striving for dignity. These early experiences shaped his lifelong commitment to justice and equality, embedding within him the belief that change was both necessary and achievable. King's intellectual gifts were evident from a young age. He enrolled at Morehouse College at just 15, demonstrating precocious talent and a thirst for learning. He later studied at Crozer Theological Seminary and earned his doctorate from Boston University, immersing himself in theology, philosophy, and ethics. During this time, he studied the writings of Mahatma Gandhi and embraced the principles of nonviolent resistance. He realized that moral courage, disciplined action, and persistent advocacy could confront systemic injustice without resorting to violence, a revolutionary idea in a nation steeped in racial tension. King's rise as a civil rights leader began with the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955, ignited by Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her seat. As a young pastor in Montgomery, Alabama, King was thrust into the national spotlight. He guided the Black community through a year-long boycott, advocating for nonviolent resistance while navigating threats, arrests, and intimidation. The boycott succeeded, leading the Supreme Court to declare segregation on public buses unconstitutional, and King emerged as a symbol of hope, courage, and moral leadership. Over the next decade, King led some of the most iconic campaigns of the civil rights movement. He spearheaded the Birmingham Campaign of 1963, challenging discriminatory laws and mobilizing mass protests that drew global attention to racial injustice in America. That same year, he delivered the historic I Have a Dream speech during the March on Washington, an address that continues to resonate as one of the most powerful articulations of the American ideal of equality. His voice blended theological depth, philosophical clarity, and personal conviction, turning words into a call for tangible action. King's leadership extended to the Selma to Montgomery marches of 1965, which highlighted the systemic suppression of African American voting rights. The violent responses from authorities shocked the nation and accelerated the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a landmark achievement in American history. Each campaign reflected his strategic brilliance. King understood that symbolic actions, combined with moral authority, could sway public opinion and compel legislative change. Yet King's journey was far from safe or easy. He endured constant threats to his life, repeated arrests, and relentless surveillance by the FBI, which considered him a potential threat to national security. Critics, including some within the Black community, challenged his methods or his insistence on patience and nonviolence. He faced the weight of expectation from millions, navigating the tension between urgent demands for change and the slow pace of legislative reform. Despite these pressures, King remained steadfast, driven by an unshakable belief in the transformative power of love and moral integrity. King's vision went beyond racial equality. He spoke out against poverty, economic exploitation, and militarism, particularly the Vietnam War, linking social justice to global peace. He understood that civil rights were intertwined with broader human rights, and he often challenged the nation to confront its own moral failings. In speeches, writings, and sermons, he urged Americans to recognize the interconnectedness of justice, compassion, and responsibility, a vision that extended far beyond the American South. Throughout his life, King forged alliances with religious leaders, politicians, and activists worldwide. He met with presidents from John F. Kennedy to Lyndon B. Johnson, appealing for legislative change and broader awareness of racial injustice. He connected with international figures advocating peace and human dignity, emphasizing that civil rights were not just an American issue, but a global moral imperative. Despite his global influence, he remained grounded, frequently returning to the communities he served to walk the streets, meet the people, and understand their struggles firsthand. On April 4, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, a tragic and violent end to a life devoted to peace and justice. Yet his legacy endures, enshrined in law, education, public memory, and the countless movements inspired by his vision. His birthday is celebrated as a national holiday in the United States, a testament to the enduring power of his message. He left behind a philosophy that emphasizes that real courage is moral courage, that leadership is service, and that justice is achieved not through hatred, but through unwavering commitment to equality and human dignity. King's story is not only about the civil rights movement, it is a lesson for humanity. It demonstrates that courage, moral clarity, and nonviolence can confront entrenched systems of oppression. It challenges every individual to ask, how far are we willing to go to confront injustice? How much can we sacrifice for the rights and dignity of others? His life shows that even in the face of fear, opposition, and death, one person's unwavering commitment can ignite a movement, change laws, and transform society. Martin Luther King Jr. reminds us that justice is a journey, not a destination, that love is stronger than hatred, persistence more powerful than apathy, and the voice of conscience louder than the roar of oppression. From the streets of Montgomery to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, from grassroots organizing to global advocacy, he demonstrated that moral leadership can shift the arc of history. His life continues to inspire millions to fight for equality, speak truth to power, and live in service to a cause greater than themselves. In every speech, march, and act of courage, King proved that one man, committed to justice and nonviolence, can illuminate the darkest corners of society and leave a legacy that reverberates through generations.